Well, welcome again. It's good to be back with you. We're actually just right around the Thanksgiving holiday, and I have this amazing picture that Sherry took. There happens to be right around the bottom left hand, there's actually a little stream. You can just see the light hitting the top of the water. And we're just looking at this bank where all of the foliage is kind of just spilling over in this lovely picture. And it's in the late summer, so the stream is almost, it's just barely going, trickling, you could say. And at the same time, I just love the colors of this picture and how the light spills into it. Thank you, Sherry, for the good things that you do. All right, so we are going to again give you a remarkable challenge in the book of Daniel. And what I'm hoping in this presentation for you is that you will get a real sense. If Daniel's name is God is my judge, then there's something about that judgment that God says is coming that he wants you to know the when, where, why, and how. Okay, so that's just how much is in this book. So in this presentation, I'm going to introduce you, if you don't know, about this thing called prophetic time. So again, we're not trying to give you an hour presentation. We're trying to make these clear and concise and then build on each small presentation. So I hope you're paying attention. You can watch this 2 or 3 times. You can take notes. So bear with me. Let's begin. Time revealed in Daniel's vision. There are 3 prophecies that include time. Daniel 7 says it will be time, times, and a half a time. Daniel 8, 2,300 evenings and mornings, and don't forget the evenings and morning. Daniel 12, there's actually more than one, but I just put on the screen for you today. Blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days. But there's more contained in chapter 12, but that is future presentation. So at the same time, what I'm trying to tell you is that there is prophetic time, time given in the context of prophecy. Basic principle is that when you're interpreting prophecy, if it is literal, there's evidence of literalness. If it is prophetic, there is evidence that it's prophetic time. And you can usually tell that, does it really match the events that it says are coming or not coming? That's a principle, okay? So, understanding prophetic time. Now, there are 2 texts or witnesses to unlock the mystery of understanding prophetic time. And this has been a lively conversation in Christianity for 160 years. The Bible principle or biblical principle for evidence is you need at least 2 witnesses. Now, at least in a murder trial. Notice Deuteronomy 19:15. One witness is not enough to convict a man accused of any crime or offense he may commit or have committed. A matter must be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. So to interpret prophetic time, I need at least 2 witnesses for the thing to hold up scrutiny and to be understood. I need those 2 witnesses. So here they are. Your 2 witnesses. There are 2 texts to unlock the mystery and understand prophetic time. One is given in Ezekiel. Now I'm going backwards in the Bible, I know that. You need to go back and read Ezekiel 4. It is fascinating in this story, a conversation with Ezekiel and God. You don't want to miss this. But let me just read what I have for you today. And when thou or you hast accomplished them, God says, lie again on thy right side, and thou shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah 40 days. And I have appointed thee each day for a year. Now notice Numbers 14:34. After the number of days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year you shall bear iniquities, even 40 years you shall know my breach of promise. And he promised to take him into the promised land. But because of their lack of faith, their failure to choose to believe God does what he says, faith is saying yes to God, they said no. So they sat on the border of the promised land for 40 years. Each day equals a year in this prophetic warning to the children of Israel. So we have 2 witnesses to testify about prophetic time. So I want to go back. There was a passage in Daniel 7 that we just kind of went right over because I knew I was going to give you this presentation. And it says in Daniel, and they will be given into his hands for a time, times, and a half a time. That's a quote. Now that is a Hebrew idiom. It's a way of reckoning time. Note the following. A time equals 1 year. Times equals 2 years. A half a time would equal a half a year, or 3.5 years of days. That's prophetic days would be 12 30-day months. That would be, for 3.5 years, 1,260 days, or 1,260 years of prophetic time. Now notice in Revelation 12:6, notice the connection between Daniel and Revelation. It's like Daniel wrote the first verse, John wrote the second. Then the woman fled into the wilderness where she had a place prepared for God, so that there she could be nourished for 1,260 days. The exact same amount of time that's in the prophecy of Daniel. Now that's just not ordinary. That's just not coincidence. There is a literary connection between Daniel and Revelation right there. That's just one of those beautiful moments you go, wow. So Revelation 12:6, then the woman fled into the wilderness. We can clearly identify a remarkable connection between these two books. They both share a time to be understood as the same one and the same. And we can only identify this if we know the principle of the two witnesses in Numbers 14:34 and Ezekiel 4:6. If you don't have that connection and understand what those witnesses are telling you, you will miss the connection between Daniel and Revelation. That both speak about the events reaching clear down to the end of time. From Daniel, from Babylon down to the end of time. Revelation takes you through that time again, right up to the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. Fascinating, fascinating conversation. So now we want to go back to Daniel 8 and that unusual number of days. Daniel 8:14, he said to me, for 2,300 evenings and mornings. That is the creation language of a day. Evening and morning equals 1 day. Then the holy place will be properly restored. Now, using the prophetic principle of time from God, the 2,300 evenings and mornings or prophetic days is one of the longest time prophecies in Scripture. That's longer than the 1,260-day prophecy or years. When we study the details, we know that the evening and morning always means a day, and if one changes the words to morning and evening as if they were sacrifices, you understand they're messing with God's time. And we don't have permission to do that. So as we progress in our study in Daniel 8 and 9, we will be giving the starting date, and that date will reach down to the end of that 2,300-day prophecy, or 2,300 day for a year prophecy. And here's the test. If we do that, then those dates that we give you need to align with the events that are revealed in the prophecy. If they don't match, if they're off by a half a century, and I'm using that language specifically because if you make that 2,300-day prophecy 1,150 and you claim it is Antiochus, you're off by a half a century. It doesn't match the timeline. So I need to be able to show you the biblical dates unfolding, and those dates must happen on the year the event takes place. That's absolutely critical. So as we study the prophecies of Daniel, we know that God has given us the keys to understand the message and see the events after they're fulfilled, so that we know He is in charge of our past, our present, and our future. This is about our confidence in what God is able to say and to do. God wants us to know these things, to be excited, and may I say, anticipate and be ready for His soon return. And He has provided all that we need to know and to be ready. And I'm going to say this, to be ready means to live your life by faith alone in what God has accomplished and the gift of His Son that He has accomplished, what Jesus has accomplished for us. Jesus has made it possible for every single man, woman, and child to grace the doors of eternity. I think that's the best news in the whole world, don't you? So when we talk about this time, I'm taking just one entire short presentation to help you understand that there is a biblical principle that unlocks the secret to be able to understand both Daniel and Revelation, and to see it clearly and simply. And it doesn't require a PhD or 2 or 3 PhDs. It just requires the principle that God has already given us. Remember, we need 2 witnesses for conviction. We have them. And don't miss that point. Thank you. I want to just close with Sherry's picture. I think this is appropriate for the season. Before we come down to the studio to record this morning, I just looked out and saw, and it looks like that steel kind of blue sky. And if in the afternoon that blue gets kind of this pink tint to it, we've got snow coming. So I think this snow picture is very appropriate. Thank you, Sherry. She just happens to be around the corner there with the production equipment. And I just want to say, Sherry, that's just an amazing picture. That's actually right there in Northern California, just not too far from Truckee. Just one of those really spectacular days, spring snow, lovely. Thank you, Sherry, for that. Please go back, watch this presentation again, take the notes, because as we go through chapter 8 and 9 together, you will see some of the most remarkable truths you could ever imagine, and you're going to discover that God knows what He talks about, and what He prophesies comes right on time. Right on time. Look forward to our next meeting. So we'll see you in another week. Thanks. Blessings. Hey, by the way, have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy family, friends. I just hope you have a great time with your family over the holidays. Take care now. Bye-bye.